This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa. How we doing today on a Thursday? It is the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com. You guys are checking us out on the Bama Central YouTube channel. Lots and lots and lots of content hitting the Bama Central YouTube channel. So if you're looking for any fall camp coverage, you can find it right there, as well as BamaCentral.com. So we are live today on an afternoon after getting off the practice field for the second day in a row. So great to be on the practice field today with about 15, 20 minutes watching the guys get after some blocking dummies, get after some sleds. So we are going to get into it right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate everybody who is joining us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, listening to us wherever you find your podcasts. You can join the show by hitting the voicemail line at 205-462-7340, extension 800. You can find us on social media machines at Joe Gaither 6, at Bama Central, and of course at MA Woods _. Go ahead and leave us a like, subscribe, rate, review, comment, question, query, or complaint right there on all those platforms. We're going to have a lot of fun today with Mason Woods. We want to first tell you the show is brought to you by Derek Daniel State Farm. You can call Derek for all of your insurance needs, 205-758-3391. Call Derek today for home, life, auto insurance, renter's insurance needs. Oh my gosh, we're at the end of July. Mason, how blessed are we to not be in moving season? But many of our listeners are in moving season across town to a new apartment, going from freshman year dorm to sophomore year apartment. You need renter's insurance. Call Derek Daniel at 205-758-3391 for all of your insurance needs, especially this time of year, your renter's insurance. With that being said, follow Mason at MAWoods _ on Twitter machine. Mason, you could have slept in today, but you didn't. You just told me that you were up early. How are we doing today, man? How's the afternoon?
No, doing good today. Doing good. It was up early as usual, just kind of the way it is. As you know, I've worked at Home Depot for a while, still going there one day a week, and my body is just built to waking up super early now, and I think it's just the way it is. Every now I did take a little mid morning nap there, right around 10 or so, got me a good little 30 minutes in, and I'm feeling good though. Unfortunately, we'll get to it. We'll talk more about it as we get into the show, I'm sure. But everyone saw Alabama misses out on Tank Jones. He goes on the Pat McAfee show. About an hour ago now, makes his announcement live too. And it was pretty funny. They were in Ohio at the Football Hall of Fame, and Pat McAfee, I watching the segment a few minutes after they get done with Tank Jones, and he's talking about, he's like, man, I really thought this was going to be cool being at the Hall of Fame and everything. Did not think about it being all Ohio State fans here, because they booed him. They booed that poor kid so hard when he got on screen, and they showed Oregon, Texas A&M, and Alabama. I felt terrible for him. I'm sure that he had, a lot of love in his own gymnasium or whatever that he was in doing his announcement. But yeah, that was a tough look. They didn't really think that went through very well.
Do you think that he heard the boos, or do you think the feed was the feed good enough because we were at Bama?
It seemed like it was okay. I mean, they were conversing back and forth relatively well. There wasn't a ton of kind of, usually there's like a pretty bad delay one way or the other. It wasn't really too bad. So I imagine he at least heard it a little bit, because it definitely came through on the broadcast.
Well, we say boo. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I hope you made a great decision for yourself. We'll be paying attention to your career, and maybe we'll catch you in the transfer portal in the next year.
I mean, and we still got 5 months, 6 months till the early signing period actually happens, and even after that, you have several months until players still can make decisions. So a lot of things could change between now and then.
So Tank Jones committing to the Oregon Ducks midday today, 5-star. That's the top player in the state of Alabama, right?
Yes, it was Cedarian Morgan for a while, but Tank Jones took that spot from him.
Well, we're doing our own rankings right here on the Joe Gaither Show. And Darian Morgan and EJ Crowell are 1 and 2. We'll give you your respect, Tank Jones. You're third. You're the third best player in the state after your decision today. You would have been the state at the top spot had you chosen the Crimson Tide. But we'll bump you down behind Darian Morgan and behind EJ Crowell just for our own re-rankings with our crimson-colored glasses.
I think that's valid.
We were out there today, day number 2 of fall camp. Great to be out there. It was much hotter today, in my opinion, than it was yesterday. Yesterday was fine. Yesterday was warm, of course, warm, but not sweltering. Today was pretty hot. And so the boys got a nice little taste of Alabama late summer. I guess midsummer, really, technically. But Alabama summer today, day number 2, still in your spider pads. So helmet, shoulder pads, thigh pads, nothing on the knees. Nobody hits the ground today. But it was great. We were out there for 15, 20 minutes again. You can see the videos right there on Bama Central's YouTube channel. We got 3 different videos of different position groups. And I imagine the Alabama Crimson Tide communication staff is going to send us an official video here pretty soon. So you can look at yesterday's official video, all kinds of stuff on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We got to talk to Ryan Grubb. We got to talk to Jeremy Bernard and Parker Brailsford. So the 2 Washington transfers entering their second year here in Tuscaloosa spoke for about 9-10 minutes as well after practice. So it was a good little afternoon. Mason, I know you weren't there. You will be there on Saturday. But just from the onset, what we saw, what are some of the things? Because I've got things that I want to get into,
Sure.
especially with the 2 position groups that I spent most of my time with. What are some things that stood out to you? And we'll just follow along and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of going off of what you and the group reported here on Bama Central. I mean, obviously, we didn't really learn anything super revolutionary about the left guard position, with Ryan Grubb kind of just telling us, yeah, it's between Dewberry and Gino there. But I guess we just kind of continue to have confirmation that those are the 2 guys there at the top. Those are the 2 guys competing for that spot. I think we can rule Alausa Lennon out as being one of the starters at that position specifically, probably because it is seemingly down to those 2 guys. Outside of that, I'm excited to get at least a little bit more just content about the quarterbacks. He got to talking about all 3 of them, gave us seemingly, pretty good information on all 3 and kind of what the 3 are succeeding in and what the other guys maybe aren't doing as well as one of the other ones. So, same things yesterday. Nothing that is really changing my, blowing my mind over here, but good stuff nonetheless.
Definitely good stuff. And you're right. It's not mind-blowing stuff in the 15, 20 minutes that we're able to see, especially considering that there's not real contact quite yet. But we'll just get right into offensive line, because I spent my time standing in the corner between the offensive line and the defensive line, just scanning my eyes back and forth between the two units, because look, man, it's football. Football starts up front, and I know we're all excited about Ryan Williams and who's going to play quarterback.
It's a game of inches.
Yes, absolutely. You got to have the men and the meat up front. We'll go into what you just kind of led us with, Cam Dewberry and Gino Vandermark. Yesterday, day 1, Gino was your basically left guard with the group of 1s. Today, day 2, Cam was your left guard with the group of 1s. And I think that could be indicative of how this fall camp is going to go until they have a set, hey, man, you're the one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll go back and forth each day. And so they can give, it's one thing to go every other rep, right? Every other rep. But I think you get a better picture when you see a whole practice.
Sure.
And you can see what's the chemistry like for a whole practice? Because guys can flip on the switch for one rep, and maybe the next every other rep doesn't go right. You get a lot more time, a lot
larger sample size, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they brought Cam in for a reason. They didn't bring him here to sit him on the bench. They brought him here to compete for that job. So it's not surprising to see him getting the opportunity.
And so that was encouraging, and obviously they're moving well, but they're going up against standing offensive linemen who are just basically, hey, push me 5 yards down the field to make sure your steps are looking right. And so you had good chemistry right there with the ones. You had Caden Proctor, Cam Dewberry, Parker Brailsford, Jaden Roberts, and Wilkin Formby. But what I found interesting was when they rolled the twos out, it wasn't Gino playing second left guard. It was Gino playing second team center. And so your second team left guard with these twos was Olaus Alinen. And so I think that what you've got here is Vandermark's versatility of, hey, if Brailsford goes – if Gino could win the job at left guard, he could. But if Parker Brailsford's helmet pops off, as we saw it 3-4 times last year, exactly what your motion. We're bumping Gino over to play center, and Cam Dewberry will come in, or vice versa. If Cam gets hurt, well, Gino's going to take that left guard spot, and we'll just keep basically use Olaus as this versatile. I'll play you left guard, I'll play you right tackle, I'll play you left tackle, just kind of the backup, whoever you need. But Gino is your next center, basically. He could win the left guard job, but he's your next center, depending on whatever happens with Parker. And we hope all health for everybody, but we'll ascribe them helmet popping off like what happened a couple times last year. I found that to be pretty interesting. And with the twos, you had William Sanders playing right guard behind Jaden Roberts, and then you ended up having Jackson Lloyd from California playing left tackle, and Michael Carroll playing right tackle. So your second-team offensive line looks pretty interesting to me, and I think kind of tells you where the depth is in this offensive line room. I guess I was a little surprised to see it wasn't Casey Poe getting worked in. It wasn't Joe Ionata getting worked in right there. You still had these two separate groups, much like we talked about with inside linebacker. You had two separate groups working away from each other, and each of them with a set of walk-ons to kind of well, the third group had a set of walk-ons. The first group had the ones and twos, and then it was threes and 3-4s walk-ons, basically, in two different groups working separate from one another. And I think we heard from Ryan Grubb today a little bit why. Ryan Grubb, we were talking about practice, and he was saying it's all about reps. It's reps. We got to maximize the field space. So going back to yesterday, you do have the inside linebackers working in two different groups, and we're a little bit separated by class today, actually. And interestingly enough, Caden Jones goes to the other class, the younger class, and QB Reese moved from the younger class to the older class. So you still had the three freshmen, Luke Metz, Duke Johnson, and
Sanders.
Thank you, Abdul Sanders. Thank you. But the QB Reese and Caden Jones flip-flop groups. I think it's pretty cool to split the position that, you've got four fields out there. Use the field space, basically, and get these guys going through reps. So you're not standing around watching, Billy Starter go through the reps and the second string and the third string and the fourth string, and we don't have enough time for you to get reps. Billy fifth string. I think it's great to get everybody getting reps, doing stuff, especially this early part of fall camp.
Yeah, like you said, if you have those resources available to you, the option to put people on multiple fields, the option to have as many coaches as you want out there, basically, why not spread them all out and just get people as many reps as you possibly can get them? Because at the end of the day, that is what is going to get you ready for playing, is just getting more and more reps.
So the offensive line looks like it's kind of coming together. And we heard from Ryan Grubb after practice, and he said basically what we've alluded to with left guard, that it's Gino and it's Cam, and that they're battling back and forth, and they've got skill sets. I think he really complimented Cam Dewberry's physicality and really complimented Gino Vandermark's mental acuity. And so I think he wanted to see a little more mental acuity from Cam Dewberry, a little more physicality from Gino Vandermark. And so we'll see how that shakes out throughout fall camp. And then right tackle, pretty much Wilkin Formby or bust is what it sounds like. Sounds like Wilkin has impressed the coaching staff enough to where there's not another challenger, despite Olaus Alinen's versatility and Jackson Lloyd and Michael Carroll's high upside. And I do think both those guys have an extremely high upside. Sounds like Wilkin has really taken the reins and said, I'm going to be the guy here at right tackle. So all the questions we were having going into fall camp of if he's going to be the guy or if there's another challenger, sounds like he's going to have to really, fall apart over these next 18 practices to not be starting against Florida State week 1.
I love this quote here in your story. Our transcript or Ryan Grubb talking about left guard, right tackle. The direct quote here talking about Wilkin Formby. He's learning how to play with the strength that he's acquired. I think he's a much more physical player than he was last year. I think he did a ton of work with Coach Ballou as far as changing his body type. And that's something that going back to the spring, you and I noticed like big time when we saw him in person was like, oh man, this is not the player that we saw playing in high school. This is a completely different body type. He looks the part of a Division I, an SEC right tackle. He and seemingly he is, taken that and ran with it.
So I think the offensive line coming together. I'm still in the place where I was in June, in May, Mason, where you see all the highlights and this is going to be the greatest offensive line in college football and meanest and biggest and strongest and toughest and roughest. And they're going to be moving people and nobody's ever going to get sacked. We've done that since the 2020 line, since the 2020 line won the Joe Moore Award. We said that about the 21 line, the 22 line, the 23 line, the 24 line. Oh, they're going to be so good. Look at all these All-Americans. Look at all these first-round picks. And Bryce Young and Jalen Milroe have been running for their lives in the traditional run game. I mean, Brian Robinson he cleared 1,000 yards, but it was Brian Robinson running through people to do so. I see the potential, I see the talent, but I'm not ready to just say, hey, these guys are going to be mauling teams all down the field and nobody's ever going to get touched. We'll see. But I do see the potential, and I do see the picture coming together much clearer than it was, at least to us or to me, about a week ago.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I will believe it, with my whole heart when I actually see it with my eyes. But in the meantime, I am optimistic.
All right, so let's flip to the defensive line because that was the other group that I was really focused on. I had defensive line to my right and offensive line to my left, and I just parked, basically. Yesterday, I walked straight to the inside linebackers yesterday to see Deontay's knee, to see these young freshmen, and then I walked over to the defensive backs, and then I ended trying to look at the quarterbacks. Today, I just basically parked between offensive line and defensive line. And defensive line, I mean, still tough to tell because the first bit of it, we're just all going through the stationary blocking sled that has that's really stationary, that you're just firing your hands and trying to work your way through that. Then the next drill, they're going basically zigzagging through cones, turning their shoulders to try to simulate getting through the line, leaving the offensive lineman very little room to get their hands on you, turn your shoulders real quick, pop them back through. And then the last drill we saw was the individual blocking sled, where it was not stationary. You hit that thing and you drove and discard. So, I mean, very simple drills, and you can see them on the Bama Central YouTube channel, but I think you've got some physical SOBs on that group. And two stood out to me that I was not really ready to, that I haven't really given a whole lot of credit to this summer. And I'm not going to do the move where Billy Four-Star looks so good he's going to have a dozen sacks and he's going to be an All-American.
He's got it all figured out, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a dark horse for the Heisman this year.
SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Edric Hill. No, but Edric Hill and Jordan Renaud, though, stood out to me as far as their physicality with their hands, the way that the blocking dummy was just getting flung all over the place. Mason, we had a blocking dummy in high school. It was hard for your boy to move. It was not easy for Joe to move. Now, again, average Andy athlete over here, not a college athlete, but it was very difficult for me to move, and it looked very easy for a lot of defensive linemen to move. Jordan Renaud and Edric Hill, we know what's going to happen with James Smith and Tim Keenan. Where do you think that those guys are going to have good seasons? And LT Overton, I think those guys are the frontline guys but you're looking for that depth. And to me, I think you should look for Jordan Renaud and Edric Hill to be contributors. That's the bar. I'm not saying all Americans. We're not sitting there saying, a dozen sacks, but good contributors, at least from a physicality standpoint. I think that Edric Hill, he was getting complimented by Freddie Roach. Same with Kane Womack. Kane came over there and gave them an earful. And Jordan Renaud, very, very, very explosive as well. So those two guys, maybe two names that you need to be looking out for at the bandit and the defensive end position behind James Smith, and probably a little bit working in at the nose guard position behind Tim Keenan.
We got to figure out how we can be the guy that turns the sled after they push it 15 yards the other direction. I just want to be the guy that flips it 180 every 3 or 4 reps. That guy looks like he's got a pretty cushy gig. We had this horrible thing when I was in high school that my coach used to call the low boy.
Ooh.
And he just showed up with it one day. He had very obviously made it at his own home, and it was like a bunch of 2x4s slapped together with some Quikrete poured into the base, so it was heavier than hell. And you had to quite literally bear crawl into it just to move it. And he would make us hit that thing all day. It was the worst. And it just I can like hear it now, nightmares. Get the low boy. Oh, it was awful. But no, these guys are moving this sled extremely violently. Like it is it's the way that I used to like throw around stuffed animals doing WWE moves when I was a little kid. That's how these players are moving what I imagine is a 250 300 pound sled.
Yeah, I'd say 250. Yeah.
I just watched. I don't know who it is because I don't have the roster pulled up in front of me. And I'm not quite up to snuff with my numbers. Let's see.
I got it right here.
It was 23.
23 is James Smith.
That's James Smith. Yeah, James Smith just completely flipped it up over. It was incredible. Violent is what you were going to get out of this defensive line.
So we'll see if it results in sacks and pressures and, stopping the run. I mean, that's the most important part. Will you blow up the offensive line and redirect a running back, whether into one of your brothers or into a linebacker, or will you do the taking down? I mean, it's got to – we heard it we spent a little time with Coach Ballou on Tuesday, and essentially he essentially said all the strength doesn't matter. It's got to translate. It's got to translate on Saturdays. Yeah. And I think that, we see it in these drills. Oh, look how athletic they are running the cones. Look how smooth they are, backpedaling the defensive backs. Look how smooth the wide receivers are catching the ball. I mean, they're not going up against anyone right now. It's all just acclimation period. And so it does look impressive, but it's got to translate on Saturdays. And last year, I think that it took a while for the defense to really get after it against the run. Particularly, we know what happened with quarterback run throughout the entire year. But I think that teams that were patient of pounding Alabama against with the run ended up being successful, being thorns in Alabama's side. You're just going to have to show up on Saturdays. I do think this defense has a ton of talent and a ton of physicality. I was pretty impressed with the defensive line today, just working through those 15 minutes. Does that mean that we've got 5 All-Americans, 1 All-American? No, I'm not ready to go that far. I do think that Tim Keenan is severely underrated. I got a friend who feels like he despises Tim Keenan and thinks he's just a pudgy, getting pushed all around. But I think the defensive line is going to be improved from last year. Is it going to be 2016? Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne? Probably not. That's really
will you
high.
Ever get there again?
Exactly. Sean Robinson, Deron Payne, and
I'm not sure that you're ever reaching those peaks again. That was special.
But I do think that you got a lot of good athletes. Coach Roach was getting after your boy, Mason. He was getting after Steve Bolabumwa, and it was do it again. One of those clips you can see him. He hits the individual blocking set, and to me, standing on the sidelines, it looks fine. It looks good. He goes, no, that's not good enough. You're too high. You're not exposed. And he makes him do it.
That just means he cares.
Yes.
That just means he wants to see him succeed. What is it? The opposite of love is not hate. It's indifference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You had Kelby Collins yelling at Bella Boomaw, grab that bleep, grab that mother. And so, like, they're encouraging him. They're definitely giving him some encouragement. It wasn't a you suck kind of a coaching moment. It was kind of a, hey, you can do better. That's not how we do it at Alabama. He and, freshman Landon Simmons. Oh, gosh.
London.
Number 90. Yes, London Simmons. Thank you. I'm going to mix that up until I'm going to have to write it 20 times in a story before I get that right. But freshman London Simmons looked explosive as well. But again, it's just against a blocking dummy, and it's just movements. Now, I did like, they're working through these cones and basically turning their shoulders around these cones. I liked Kelby Collins. I liked Jordan Renaud, looking like smooth athletes. We'll see what it turns into in 30 days. Mason, we're 30 days away from Alabama kicking off against Florida State.
Yeah, this is an interesting drill here. This little, they look like when they do the dogs at the Westminster show and they run them between, they're running between these little, I can understand the merit in it, but I also feel like it's sneakily one of those that you could just kind of fake your way through pretty easily. But I don't know. I'm not out there doing it, so I'm not going to. I'm going to just give these guys the benefit of the doubt here.
Well, when you look at it again, you watch the varying degrees. Some of them are, we're just turning our shoulders like I am on the stream. And some of them are getting their shoulders flat, parallel, perpendicular.
14. Who's 14?
14 is Fatutua Henry, new transfer.
He's having a little bit of a tough time with this drill here.
Yeah,
that's understandable. I can see in the way that he's doing it that this has been a point of contention where it's like, or he is intentionally like slowing his feet down so he can get the movements right because he's doing it a bit slower than everybody else, but he's very intentional with what he's doing. So seems like this one is a little bit of a tough one to maybe get the grasp of.
So we'll see how it continues to develop. Alabama taking Friday off, and then they'll be back action. Mason, when you go Saturday, first day of full pads, my guy.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, so maybe they'll let you see a little bit more, and maybe they will ramp up the physicality. I think that Sunday is going to be somewhat of a scrimmage type situation. I don't want to say that with full confidence, but I think that's kind of what was alluded to around the facility today. Saturday, full pads. Sunday, a little bit of scrimmage work, a little bit of live action. So looking forward to things getting really ramped up. You know how it goes, Mason. You remember it's the same way in high school. You go the first 2-3 days without full pads. It's the acclimation period. Even in the TSSAA, you had to go through a 3-day acclimation period. And so coach never wasted 2 days on those days. It was a one a day. And then that fourth day was the first 2 days, and it was
man,
welcome back, buddy.
Yeah, there's nothing like it stepping out into that hot, humid mess. I don't miss it. I do a little bit, but I do not miss that aspect of it at all.
All right, so I'm going to hit my commercial break real quick right here. But when we come back, we'll keep the conversation going about Alabama's day number 2. And I want to flip it to really what we heard from Ryan Grubb. We're going to talk about quarterbacks a little bit. We're going to talk about, I think we know who the fourth wide receiver is at this point. I think that has been revealed in 2 days, in 2 days' time. Now, I still love me some Latia Brooks. I still love me some Cole Adams. But I think you can piece together some comments and figure out who the fourth wide receiver on this team will be. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more right here on the Joe Gaither Show. As we hit a break, I want to make sure you guys are aware of the Northport Lions Club. We are putting on a health department, so a free health fair. So if you're in the Northport area, you can come join us for a health fair on Saturday, August 23rd.
Northport Lions Club and St. Mark Church present a free health fair in honor of Dr. Norman and Jean Carlson, Saturday, August 23rd, 8:30 till noon. That'll be in the St. Mark Family Life Center. Northport citizens can get free eye, hearing, and blood pressure screenings, diabetes testing, and more. Now, the first 100 people get a free biscuit, and free Domino's pizza slices will be served at 11, along with free snow cones and drinks from Buffalo Rock. Sponsors include Alabama Lions Psych, Ascent Audiology, DCEH Regional Medical Center, West Alabama Food Bank, Special Olympics, Northport Police Department, U of A Institute for Rural Health, the Alabama Department of Public Health, and others. A Northport Fire Department truck will be on site, and there will be lots of fun kids' activities. The Northport Lions St. Mark Health Fair. See you Saturday, August 23rd.
All right, we'll keep it going right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. We appreciate everybody who's joining us on the YouTube channel. We encourage you, give us a call, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Leave us a voicemail. We'll play it tomorrow. We'll talk about whatever your topic is. If you've got thoughts on Alabama opening up fall camp, you're welcome to jump on and join us on the voicemail line, 205-462-7340, extension 800. Mason Woods, it's hitting Bama Central right now because Hunter DeCiver just wrote about it. Who is Alabama's fastest wide receiver? Now, goodness gracious, if I'd have asked you that last week, who's the fastest wide receiver on the team, your answer is?
Probably just Ryan Williams, I guess. Probably would have thrown Ryan Williams out there.
Yeah, Ryan Latsier, I think will probably be my 1 and 1A answers. But apparently, reportedly, young Rico Scott. Rico Scott is the fastest wide receiver on the team. Did he actually get redshirted last year? Yeah, he did end up getting redshirted. So he's a redshirt freshman. He was in the class of 24, played in a couple of games. You all remember the really sexy touchdown catch that he had against Mercer right there in the corner. Apparently, young Rico Scott is running at 23.5 miles an hour.
And for those who are not moving, I mean, man, that is extremely fast. Is that fast? I don't know. Maybe you have the numbers in front of you. Is that one of the? I mean, that might be the fastest we've seen in a while. I remember seeing some numbers from Devontae Smith. I don't remember exactly what they were, but I don't recall if they were 23.5.
If you're converting speed. Let's see. Come on. Looks like. Yeah. That's disgusting. That's not true. That is not true. Now, AI has got to be messing with me right here. The AI, I said 23.5 miles an hour to 40-yard dash. There's no way this is true. But actually, I mean, I guess it is true because AI is calculating the entirety of the 40-yard dash at 23.5 miles an hour. You do have to work up to 23.5 miles an hour. 3.48.
Yeah. Okay. Oh.
That's not true. That's not accurate. I
think probably a 4.3 guy. Certainly, maybe pushing a little lower than that. Even
we were told that the 23.5 equivalates to 4.3.
I can see that,
which is still like you're pushing high end of the combine numbers.
Yeah, I mean you're putting up again. What's Devontae Smith ran and he had to be. Yeah, I mean he only ran a 4.49. I don't know. Jalen Waddle, he got into the high 4.3s maybe. 4.37. So yeah, I mean you're probably. I would imagine that's probably the fastest an Alabama receiver has ran, unless there's somebody I'm forgetting right now. Maybe Henry Ruggs ran faster than that when he ran. But you're probably pushing for the fastest in history from coming out of Alabama if you are that fast.
Insanity is what that is, and you piece together that piece of information with comments from Ryan Grubb today about Rico Scott, comments from Jeremy Bernard about Rico Scott, and then come on, we'll do a little social media digging. Instagram. Do you remember? I think it was Ryan. I think it was Jeremy. I think it was Isaiah Horton and Rico Scott, all in a little quad photo of, hey, we're the dudes this year. So it sounds like
out.
It sounds like the frontline trio already knows that Rico Scott is their fourth man, and
that's a bad group right there. Who's covering that group?
Not me.
Yeah, I don't know who is.
Is Pat Surtain covering it? No, I don't know.
He might cover one of them. I mean, that's 4 legitimate, I think, elite level threats in your wide receiver core. I mean, Rico Scott is a bit of a projection. Sure, I'll give you that. If you want to say that he's not at that level, I'll lend you that. Whatever. But the other 3 are proven. I think are proven to be elite options for at the wide receiver position. And then you are bringing in a guy who was a highly touted player. We have seen him do a little bit in an Alabama uniform, and the bit we have seen was very impressive. And now we are hearing all of these offseason murmurs about him. Wow. Whoever this quarterback winds up being, their work not going to have to do a whole lot, I don't think.
Let's see. Last year's recruiting class, I know you had Caleb Odom. I know you had Rico Scott there and Ryan Williams. There was a fourth wide receiver. Yeah, Amari Jefferson as well. And so you end up, I was going to say running off, but I don't know exactly that if they were ran off or if they just went elsewhere looking for other opportunities. Amari Jefferson transfers to Tennessee. Mm-hmm. Caleb Odom transfers to Ole Miss. And the coaching staff says, no, Ryan Williams. No, Rico Scott. You guys aren't leaving. I think that you should be looking for is 11, right? Yeah, number 11 out there on the football field this year. When you get when one of those first receivers needs a break, very very exciting to me in my opinion. And look, Ryan's going to get all your attention as he should, but just think about this, Mason. Last year's receiving core, which Jeremy was a part of, last year's receiving core to this year's receiving core, I think is not quite night and day, but maybe dusk till day. Early morning, that's 6. Sure. You're up early in the morning for Home Depot, where the sun's peeking over and it's bright. There's enough light to do what you need to do. But then at noon, there's a lot more light. It's not midnight to where there's no light to noon. It's maybe what? 7:15, 6:15, whatever sunrise is, you could probably tell me. I'd say that, to 11 in the afternoon or 11 in the morning.
Yeah, because I mean that's a perfect way to look at it, because you did obviously have great talent last year in Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams, and you had Caleb Odom on the roster. He was good, still a good player. You had talent there, but the
Kobe Prentice,
but the step that is. Jeremy Bernard being in this program for another year, becoming a bigger leader in the program, a bigger leader on the team, having his voice be heard more, feeling more comfortable in Tuscaloosa. And then Ryan Williams also going from the 17-year-old phenom to now a second-year college football player who knows the way the game goes, knows how everything, has a pretty good lay of the land in front of him. And then you add an elite receiver from Miami who was just part of one of the most explosive offenses in maybe college football history. I don't know exactly the history, the numbers there, but that Miami offense was ridiculous last year. You bring him in to take over the wide receiver 3 spot that was mostly absent last season. And then we also, here we are talking about Rico Scott. And, you brought in Derek Meadows as a freshman. You brought in Lothier Brooks. You brought in all of these other players. That's just top to bottom. Yeah, I think this is a really, really astounding group.
So, whoever wins that quarterback job, all you got to do, man, deliver the football. Don't turn it over.
Just don't do dumb things.
Oh, man.
You know what? Honestly, you probably get away with doing some dumb things. These guys will bail you out. I just really think that, this it's not going to require the quarterback carrying this team. We're not going to need a Bryce Young level performance. Although I would love to see one. You're not going to need one.
Well, Mason, I think that's about all my notes, except for the stuff that he said on quarterback. So we'll save that for the very end, unless you have any other comments that you want to bring up, defensive back wise, inside backers, or just off the field. Obviously, we talked about Tank Jones to start with, and those who may have missed that, Tank Jones is committing to Oregon today on the Pat McAfee show. He ends up leaving and say, look, if you're not going to go to Alabama, it's fine. Go to Oregon. Go to Oregon, make a lot of money.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, not A&M, not your Auburns, not Tennessee, not Georgia, you get not LSU. Go on to Oregon. Go make a lot of money. Go make a lot of sacks in the Big Ten. And you're going to be sacking quarterbacks from Purdue and quarterbacks from Northwestern and Rutgers and the like. I guess Oregon State is probably their big rival. USC, that'll be fun.
Yeah. I was going to say I think that is that game in like flux now because of all of the realignment and everything, the Civil War game. Who knows? I did see just super quick a really pretty funny tweet from our friend Nick Kelly here, taking a screenshot of Damani Jackson's Instagram story showing Alabama secondary coach Mo Linguist just relaxing in the ice bath. And it looks like he might be asleep, and good on him if he is, because I imagine he had a hard day. I saw him in these practice videos that we posted. They all posted on Bama Central, and he was out there in pants and a hoodie. So not sure what you're doing, but good on him for getting in the ice bath.
Did you have coaches like that? Because I did too.
I'm trying to remember if I did. I don't really think I did.
You're insane if you're wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, that I don't really understand it.
Kane Womack, you're nuts, man. Ryan Grubb was in sweats as well, and like he came into the press conference and just like drenched, and he goes, "I thought y'all said it was hot."
I don't understand it. I guess I'll say that. I don't really get the message that you're portraying. If I was a player, I would just be sitting there questioning why you're wearing sweats. I would just think like, what's wrong with you? I wouldn't be like, oh, look how tough that guy is. Like that's never really even in my head. It's more of just a question of why are you doing that? You go work. There's a big room in there where you can get any size T-shirt and shorts, socks, anything you want. They'll just hand it to you.
It's got to be about pockets, maybe.
Maybe it is.
I have no idea.
Yeah. That's a man of fanny pack.
Yes, but no, a lot of the coaches that are out there are in hoodies, are in sweats, and I think it is partly a we're suffering with you guys. Sure. I don't want to hear about the heat because look at us, but there's no reason.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Good on you, coaches. I'll say that on the back end. Good on you, but I don't get it.
I tell you what, they will not see me in a hoodie out there on Saturday.
Oh yeah, I'm out there, no undershirt, just in my polo, and khaki shorts.
Yeah, that's gonna be that'll be me.
I'll
still be sweating through that.
I thought about just being a total jokester today. I've got a basketball like practice jersey that's like mesh. That's like that I wear to the pool sometimes. I thought about being a real wearing that and sandals, flip flops.
Even then, I'd probably sweating through that. It's hot. It's just hot. It's hot. Yeah, I will never understand the hoodies and sweats out on the practice field. Nick Saban was never one to do that. He always had his straw hat, which I understood that. He was always a shorts. He would rock the little like vest thing, which still didn't really get, but not my thing.
Yeah, when I was writing the practice report up today, I made sure I went over to the weather and went to like AccuWeather or something like that. And it said 88, heat index 107. I was like, that can't be right. I mean, it was hot, but was it 107?
The way that heat just radiates off the field too, it's brutal.
Disgusting. So the guys are getting tough in the Alabama sun, trying to figure out who's going to be playing for the Crimson Tide in 30 days. And I don't think this quarterback battle is over with.
I still feel like I just still feel like it's the same thing that I said it was a long time ago, where they're gonna start Ty because they have to, but they don't really want to that bad. Like it still just seems like they're begging Keelan Russell or Austin Mack to take this job from Ty Simpson. I don't know. Maybe that's just me reading into it too much. But just going through what Grubb said about the three of them, it still seems to me it's like, well, yeah, Ty's the safest option. Keelan Russell, he's dynamic. The way he reads the field is electric. Austin Mack has a giant arm that can push the ball downfield. And then it's like, Ty's safe. Ty's okay. I don't know. It still feels like they are begging these other two quarterbacks to rip this job out of Ty's hands. But they're not going to give it to them because they know Ty is a safe option.
Well, the actual quote about Ty Simpson was, Ty is continuing to show a ton of command. I thought he did a better job today than the other two guys with that, so he continues to progress as a leader. That's their Ty Simpson quote here. They asked they asked, why haven't you named him the actual starter yet? Well, he's got to do it every day between now and Florida State. whoever that person is, they have to come out and show that it's clear to him. That's what this football team needs. And all three of these guys know that. Being able to show up every day and not wavering in and out of the type of player he is, the type of decision maker he is, the inconsistencies that a young quarterback would show, or a quarterback that's not ready to start. As long as Ty could do that, or one of the other guys, that's going to be the player that's going to start at quarterback. I think you're not far off, but I think it's less of we don't want to start Ty. It's let's see if he messes this thing up before we get there. Like, let's see, let's make sure that let's make sure that his feet are to the fire, because we want to test him now. And if he messes this up, if he collapses one day and he blows up at the team because something, and I'm not saying likely, but you have your head hanging between your head hanging down because a couple bad throws or this, that, and the other. I think that they're just trying to put him in all kinds of situations so that they can really figure out what kind of quarterback he's going to be when Alabama goes over to Athens in that fifth week. And I do think that they are also leaving room open for Ty and for Keelan and for Austin to jump forward and seize the job.
I think what concerns me, or not even necessarily concerns me, but just what is glaring to me, is that in this quote where Grove talked about all three of them, he kind of goes out of his way to praise Keelan and Austin. Keelan's ability to see the field is just his vision, his innate ability to make a play, even potentially when there's not one there, is at a really high level. Austin just has elite arm talent, big guy that's strong and can power through things. I've never heard them say anything like that about Ty Simpson, and I feel like if he had these things, they would have said it at some point about him. All I hear about Ty Simpson is, well, he's got great command. He's he's really good at doing the little things. It's just, I don't know.
Well, don't you want somebody who can command the offense? All you got to do is put these guys in the right spot. Put these wide receivers in the right place.
Yeah, but what's that going to get you when you're playing Georgia, and you need that elite quarterback to make a play for you? Is Ty going to be that guy?
What you do is you get in a bunch formation. you get in bunch and you say, all right, defensive backs, you got to guard. You got to sort out Ryan, Jeremy, and Isaiah.
Yeah.
And they're gonna all release off the line in funny ways. And Isaiah's gonna run a clear out, and Jeremy's gonna.
But why not pair that with the elite quarterback? Why not pair that with the dynamic quarterback? Why do you have to pair that with the guy that shows a lot of command?
Well, okay, let me ask you a different way. Could this be an overcorrection from last year? Last year we go into the year. Last year we go into the year and it's Jalen Milroe's job. Jalen's a guy. And
now we need the most boring quarterback possible that will not make any mistakes ever. That will just play exactly the most fundamental brand of football on the planet.
Well, I don't take it that way. I take it as we let Jalen know way too early that he was the guy, and we couldn't really really keep his feet to the fire.
Yeah, maybe that.
I mean, we talked about it last year. Your foot alignment, your split feet versus parallel feet, if you can't coach that out of him, if he just ignores you. I wonder if they're just leaving room for, hey, we can bench your butt in a heartbeat if you go against what we say. Yep. If you go against the scheme, if you are going rogue for any reason.
That's fair.
I'm wondering if that's the other angle here. It's like, hey, that leash that we had Jalen Milroe on was 20 miles long, and you ain't on a 20-mile long leash.
6 inches long. Yeah, I could see that. I just want one of these coaches to say, man, the way that Ty Simpson's able to fling the ball out there, the way that he's able to push it downfield, man, what he's able to do with his legs, the way he's able to read the field. Just once, I want one of them to say something like that instead of, well, he's just got great command of the offense and he does the little things.
Maybe they're trying to get Florida State's defense to
maybe they are
not take him seriously.
We're playing the long game here.
Well, 30 days until we kick off against Florida State. So we're going to wrap this bad boy up right here. You follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. He had the article out real fast about Tank Jones choosing Oregon over Alabama today. But don't worry, there's going to be more recruiting news ahead. There's going to be more recruiting fun ahead for BamaCentral.com. So follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_. Mason, I shot a message to our offensive line commit, Sam Utu, and he responded 8:45 tomorrow morning. Sam Utu is scheduled to join the program. So I'm really looking forward to getting to know one of Alabama's offensive line commits in the 2025 class. We'll talk to him tomorrow morning at 8:45. So that is on deck, at least for tomorrow. We'll have more conversation about fall camp. I'm sure that more things will come out throughout the evening. Did you see yesterday, Ellis Ponder officially leaving the program. That's Coach Saban's. That was Coach Saban's right-hand man from a business and logistical standpoint. Leaving the program, I believe he's going to join Jimmy Sexton with CAA. I think is what the report I saw. So
continue to be Nick Saban's right-hand man.
Very likely. His right-hand man when he joins the Cleveland Browns.
Sure, yeah.
When he joins the Cleveland Browns, Ellis Ponder is going to be the top ops guy over there, and they're going to draft Arch Manning, and he's getting back in the game.
Man, what a tinfoil hat conspiracy that has been. I've seen over the last month or so.
Colin Cowherd says it's true, and if Cowturd says it's true, it's true.
Woo. He's on to something.
No, I do like Colin Cowherd, but I think that sometimes he's classic radio man.
Oh yeah, he needed something to go in the summer.
So we'll talk more tomorrow on the Joe Gaither Show. We appreciate everybody watching us on the Bama Central YouTube channel. You can peruse the Bama Central YouTube channel right now for 7 different practice videos over the last 2 days. You can peruse the channel for an interview with a press conference with Ryan Grove and with Kalen DeBoer. We also spent time with Parker Brailsford and Jeremy Bernard today. Alabama off tomorrow. Mason's taking my place on Saturday, so you're going to get Mason, Will Miller, and Hunter DeCiver in the program on Saturday. They're going to give a viewing period just like we did today, and they're going to get defensive players on Saturday, so it's going to be 2 or 3 select defensive players. You might get Damani. LT Overton. I'll tell you this, you're not getting Tim or Deontay Lawson. Basically, they told us ahead of time, they already said all their piece at SEC Media Day for at least a little bit of time. They'll get back on the podium soon, but you'll get a couple defensive guys not named Deontay Lawson or Tim Keenan. So you can be thinking about that, thinking about some questions for Saturday, and you'll get Kane Womack, and Kane is a lot of fun at the podium, so you'll have to give him a hard time for his sweat. For us. Make sure you keep up with Mason Woods and the Bama Central YouTube channel over the weekend. I'm going to be just handling some things. We will have a show tomorrow, and I'm going to be cutting up a lot of video tomorrow. I cannot wait to talk to Sam Utu, and more big things in store right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central and BamaCentral.com.
Thanks for joining us on today's edition of the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. Keep up with Joe on all his social media pages at Joe Gaither6. Subscribe, rate, and review the show on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to read us daily at BamaCentral.com.